and welcome to the Author Roundup, a special segment of the Book Connection Show where we meet up and coming indie authors and talk to them about their recently released books. Welcome to the Author Roundup. I'm Jenny, and today's episode is all about believing in your own potential and the magic that happens when you do. Our guest today knows firsthand what it means to rise from hardship. Once a struggling single mom, she turned a moment of hope, sparked by her daughter's small act, into a legacy of service and inspiration. That one can of food led to a movement, touched countless lives, and proved that yes, one person really can make a difference. Her new book, The Magic of Making a Difference, One Can Make a Difference, is a heartfelt story wrapped in resilience, compassion, and purpose. It's one that will move you and maybe even change you. She's one remarkable woman. She has been honored as an Olympic torch runner in 1996 and most recently as one of California's Women of Distinction in 2024. Let's welcome the author of this powerful story, The Magic of Making a Difference, One Can Make a Difference, Dr. Marlena Uhrik. Hi, Dr. Uhrik. Such a joy to
Oh,
have you here.
hi, Jenny. So happy to speak with you today.
Right. So I'll get right into the questions. What inspired you to write a book like this, one that's filled with reflective entries and real life moments?
Wow, what inspired me was an incident that had happened when my daughter was 8 years old, so many, many years ago. And it's a story that I've told throughout the years because I think it has such an important message. But I decided that this was really part of my legacy and that I really needed to write a book about it and to go beyond the storytelling part. So I love doing both. I love having the book and also doing the storytelling part of the magic of making a difference.
I see. So it's a real story
It's
about
a
your
real story. It's a true story. It was like when my daughter was 8 years old, it was like one of those aha moments, a
daughter.
lesson that she taught me in just a small thing that
Mhm.
turned into a huge ripple effect that changed my life forever.
Okay, so let's talk about the title of the book. One can make a difference. What does that phrase mean to you personally?
Ah, well, thanks for asking because actually the one can make a difference is kind of a play on words.
Right.
Oh. It's like the literal and figurative meaning, like one can make a difference, like you can do something that would impact somebody's life. But
Mhm.
the also other meaning of the one can make a difference is the actual physical can,
Right.
which is part of the story. And I'm trying to have it up here in the on the screen, but a can of bamboo shoots.
Mhm.
And because of that aha moment, which is told in the story, this can of bamboo shoots has been responsible for serving hundreds and thousands of kids and families.
So that started it all. That one can started
That
a
one
moment.
can.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. What audience did you have in mind when you were writing this book? You said the story is very personal, it's very close to your heart. But when you were writing it, who did you have in mind?
Who I had in mind were children in particular, and probably around six or so. It's a very short book. It's easy to read. Um, But I also knew that the message in the book would have a powerful meaning, not only for the kids, but also for the people reading it to the kids.
Mhm.
So my audience is really everybody who reads.
Mhm. Okay, so it's not just the kids who will benefit from your book, but those probably parents, educators, guardians who would be reading the book with the kids. I see.
Absolutely.
Mhm. And why was it important for you to combine quotes, affirmations, and real life moments in one book? Because that's what I noticed in the book. There are a lot of quotes there and a lot of affirmations. What made you decide to present the book that way?
Well, it's something that I believe in terms of providing tools for people to learn, and we all learn in different ways. And I figured that I wanted this to be more than just a story. I really wanted it to have the impact of like a mission or a lifelong message, and to have that impression for the people reading the book, and to kind of go beyond just the words, to have those exercises and activities in the book, that would just give it an extra layer of meaning to the people who are reading it together.
Yes, I agree. I like the part that there are, within the book, I mean, there are parts there where you can actually write your thoughts as you go through the activities, right?
Absolutely. And it was my goal to like have people really think about
Mhm.
um, those questions about how they could make a difference, and how they could like really take that and go out in real life and do the thing they said that they would love to do to make a difference.
I see. So in your book, many pages also emphasize that small actions matter. So with one can, uh, that created or that started a big movement, right? So what led you to focus on this idea throughout the book that one can make a difference, even
Yeah,
small actions?
yeah. Well, in the book, I tell the story about how my daughter came to me when she was 8 years old, and when she was so excited, and she wanted because her class or her whole school actually was having a canned food drive, and she wanted to bring canned goods to the canned food drive so her class could win the pizza party, right? And, I was a struggling single parent at the time. And when she made that request, it was like, I thought about it and I felt like I didn't have enough food to share with others. So I told her that I'm sorry, but we just don't have enough food to share. So I could tell she was heartbroken. I was heartbroken.
Mhm.
But, she came back a second day and asked again about bringing some canned goods, and I told her, "No, I'm so sorry. We just don't have enough to share." And then on the last day of the canned food drive, she came to me and she said, "Mom, can I bring at least just one can?" And that's when I looked way back in my kitchen cabinet and I found a can of bamboo shoots. And so I gave that to her, and she was thrilled. She had something she could bring, because her whole thing was not only to win the pizza party, but she also knew that the canned goods were going to go help feed hungry kids.
Mhm. Right.
And that was big in her heart too.
Mm.
So guess what? The last day of after the canned food drive, the results came in, and her class won. Her class
Wow.
by one can.
It was that can.
This can, and talk about an aha moment,
Mm.
for me, and for my daughter. It was so amazing. And, I mean, I still remember, hearing the news. I remember that moment, standing in the kitchen when she told me that her class won by one can. And so for me personally, it was like an aha moment that one can make a difference and that I can make a difference.
Tell us about the movement that sparked.
Yeah, so it wasn't long after that that I started thinking, I mean, I was so taken by the results of the one can, that I decided, there must be other families like us that are struggling. They're having a hard time putting food on the table. And I thought about, well, what can I do?
Mhm.
And my background is in education, and I started doing some research, and I realized that in my own community, there were so many kids that were dependent on school lunches.
Mhm.
And then I started thinking, well, what happens when school is not in session? when those kids don't get school lunches. And when I talked to principals of the schools close to where I lived, I found out that I asked, "Well, what do you do? What do the kids do? What does the school do?" And the principals would say, "Well, we just pray." So I decided that when I started getting all this information and this reality kind of hit me, I decided I had to do something, and I didn't know what I could do. I didn't have a lot of money, and but I knew that there was a problem. And even though I was an educator, I didn't know that it was such an in-depth problem with childhood hunger. At the time, I was teaching at a college in my location, in my community there, and I was teaching early childhood education as the topic.
Mhm.
And when I brought this to my students, when I said, you're not going to read about this in your textbook, but I want to tell you, you know, this is what I found out. This is what I found out about childhood hunger in our own backyard. And my students said, well, what can we do about it? And I said, well, what would you like to do about it?
Mhm.
And they said, well, let's have a canned food drive on campus.
Mhm.
I said, oh, that's fantastic. And then before I knew it, this whole kind of movement started right there, in the classroom, the college campus at Chabot College in Hayward, California. And it was like, oh, okay, well, let's have a canned food drive. And then somebody said, well, let's have a clothing drive with that too.
Oh,
Kids
right.
need clothes. And then because it was close to Christmas time, close to winter and all of that, they said, well, let's collect children's books for them too. Those could be the gifts that we give them. So before I knew it, the whole college got involved in all these efforts. And before I knew it, we were able to deliver huge boxes of canned goods, clothing, and children's books to the schools that were closest to us. And the when I saw the look on the kids' faces that they were going to get food, and I saw the moms like in tears
Mhm.
that somebody cared, I knew that there was something here, and my own students who were just so involved and loved it so much and they were so energized by helping others in our community. I knew there was something there for all of us. It was like it takes a village to raise a
Right.
child. And there we were. There we were the village. So before I knew it, I had other people say, hey, how can we help? And we had organizations like Rotary and Kiwanis and
Wow.
local hospitals and everybody joining in.
Mm.
It was the Salvation Army that said, come and bring your program to our facility. You can use our kitchen. We'll help you
What?
any way we can. And before I knew it, I had started a grassroots effort
Mhm.
just with the thought that, what can I do? That grassroots effort became a nonprofit organization.
Mhm.
And before I knew it, all kinds of amazing things were happening, just in terms of the number of kids and families we were serving in our own community. So I became the official CEO of the Kids Breakfast Club in Hayward,
Wow.
California. Back in 1992 was our very first Kids Breakfast Club, where we served kids and families during the time when school was not in session.
Oh, okay.
So that is like the huge ripple effect
Mhm.
that this one can have. And that's why I say this can has been responsible for feeding hundreds and thousands of kids and families throughout the years. And the nonprofit is still going strong in Hayward, California.
Wow, that's amazing.
After this, been over 35 years or so now.
Wow, what a beautiful story. So to this day, you're still it's still ongoing. That's
It's
amazing.
still ongoing. The people, the leadership in Hayward has taken it over because it made such an impact on the community.
Mhm.
And So I am just so excited and thrilled that that kind of legacy in itself
Right.
continues. And it was also shortly after I got became a nonprofit that I was nominated as a community hero by our
Wow.
congressman, and that's how I was given the opportunity to run with the Olympic torch in 1996 as
Mhm.
a community hero for the work that I had done for kids and families in that my community.
And the seed that you've planted on the kids' hearts, the desire to help, I think that's something else too.
Absolutely. And it's amazing because I hear stories of kids that they remember. They
Mm,
remember when they were little and they came to the Kids Breakfast Club and had so much fun
mm.
and they got fed and they had fun, being with their families and being with their friends. And so, yeah, it's just, and some of those kids are graduated from college now.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
And to those helping as well, when you start helping and you feel that fulfillment that comes from helping, it sticks with
absolutely.
you and it becomes sort of like you'll be looking for that feeling over again. So you want to do it again. You want to keep on helping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so, you're right, it's so fulfilling, you
Yes.
know, and we were all volunteers.
Hmm.
And yet, I felt like I got paid over and over again,
Yeah.
with
True.
just the gratification
Mhm.
of knowing that kids got fed and, you know, and it was a good thing.
That's a very beautiful story, Dr. Uhrig. And now you have your book to share on
I
top
know.
of all the things that you're doing. Yes.
And yeah, and you'll see on the cover that can of bamboo shoots, and
Right.
that's, me handing the can of bamboo shoots to my daughter to take to school.
Okay, so your book has the story and it has the activity sheets or the tip sheets as you call it. How do you hope readers will use this book? Do they just read it in one sitting or do they read it one story at a time, one activity at a time? What is the best way to consume this book?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's so many different ways because everybody's different and everybody has different kinds of schedules and
Mhm.
obligations already on top of school and work and all of that. But I'm hoping that people can pace themselves, accordingly. And if it's one lesson or one activity, or if it's three or four, whatever the heart says, whatever the time allows, the whole idea is to have food for thought
Right.
and to take that lesson and just have it be part of you, something that you've learned, not only from reading the book but from doing the activities in the book too.
Yeah, so it's good that you mentioned food for thought because some parts of your book would have or would prompt the reader with direct questions, right?
Hmm.
So, what kind of internal dialogue were you hoping to spark from the questions that you're asking them directly?
Yeah, that's great. I think bottom line, the kind of questions that I hope would occur would be, what can I do?
Mm.
How can I make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
And, for people to look around, like even in their own community, their own backyard, just like I did, and just, maybe open their eyes to see where where there's a need and what they can do about that.
That's right. Also, in your book, you would reference schools, teachers, students, and all that. What role do you think education plays in fostering a difference making mindset?
Wow. We play an enormous role in children's lives, mainly because we are another influence. And it could be that parents don't have time to think about how they can make a difference or whatever. But but a lot of parents do have that as part of their own thinking. And churches are also always looking at how to support.
Mhm.
others in their community, along with other organizations. So I think that, there's many ways that the book can continue to foster that belief that that everyone can make a difference in some way,
Mhm.
somehow, and to help them just get go kind of get into action about it, because it's one thing to read about it, and it's another thing to pause and think about it, and then to take action.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that this book will kind of kickstart that action part that we could all use.
I'm sure it will. So, Dr. Yurik, let's talk about your experience now as an author. So, you mentioned that you have written books before, and with this particular book, what was the writing process like for you? If you can tell us about the experience, like the fun and the challenging times.
Sure. Um, this book was easy for me to write in many ways because, as I mentioned earlier, it's a story that I've told throughout the years, and it's always kind of been close to my heart.
Mhm.
But what was interesting is that I knew that I wanted it to be illustrated in a special way. And I wasn't quite sure how, but I knew that I would find the right person, but I didn't know who that was going to be. Because the book is near and dear to my heart, I was one day I was out talking to a friend of mine,
Mhm.
and as she actually works at a chiropractor's office. And I said, I'm getting ready to write my next book. It's my legacy. And I'm looking for an author or illustrator. And, if you happen to know of anybody or hear about anybody, please let me know. And, her eyes got real big and she said, wait a minute. And she went and got her phone. And before I knew it, she was showing me pictures of artwork that her son had done.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going, are you kidding me? Your son made this, And when I looked at the pictures, I'm going, oh, I want him to be my illustrator. So it turned out in writing this book that I found the most amazing illustrator. And I actually have a picture of him in my book, and I'll show the picture here on the screen.
Mhm.
But this is a picture of Aiden Huddleston, and Aiden was 14 years old when we worked on this book together. And it was such an amazing process.
Mhm.
And part of it was just kind of communicating what it was like back in the 70s,
Uh-huh.
to what things looked like, what kind of clothes people wore, what colors were popular, and Aiden was so great because he did so much research to
Mhm.
on the Brady Bunch and
Mhm.
other TV shows just to find out, well, because he would draw like a toaster, because I one of my scenes is in the kitchen,
Right.
and it was like, no, the toasters didn't look like that back then. He had to like do some research, but it was just an amazing process to work with him, and it basically made things just really fun and exciting, because for me it was like, this kid is so gifted. People
Mhm.
need to know about him. So that's my goal too, is to, help promote him as an artist whenever I can.
Right. He has a bright future ahead of him.
Yes,
At
indeed.
14, at 14, he was able to do that already.
Right. And now he's probably close to 16 now, 15 and a half, 16. And he is going to art school, but he's just an amazing artist, but also an amazing person.
Right. So conceptualizing the illustrations and the story you said was fun for you. How long did it take you to write the book? Like, let's say from concept down to the finished manuscript.
Yeah. About 3 months. It took about 3 months. So
Mm.
we worked on the book over the summer, and what it was great because Aiden was off from school.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a chance to meet like at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, just to work on the illustrations and for me to kind of take what was in my head and transfer all that over to him about, how it should look, for each of the scenes. So it was quite a process. He was just such a willing and patient artist, and it just made it fun to work with him.
How about the activity sheets that you included there? The tip sheets that you
The
included.
tip sheets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How did you decide which ones to include in the book?
Yeah. Well, the tip sheets were part of a process that I thought was as an educator that, I wanted to be able to give as much information as possible that could help people understand things like child development, about how kids are smart, and not how smart are kids, but how are they smart, which is a real interesting distinction because kids are smart. They're just smart in different ways, you
Right.
know? But at any rate, just to give additional tips and information that could help people become a better parent, have maybe deeper conversations with their kids, uh, just have fun experiences, based on the tip sheet, because I have a tip sheet on cooking in the kitchen, a
Right.
tip sheet on camping. I mean,
Uh-huh.
there's all kinds of fun things in there. But the whole idea is to like really um, bring about opportunities for conversation and for connectedness.
Right. And I really love that part. Like I said earlier, you can reflect on what you read and jot down your ideas, your thoughts. So I think it's a very good way or a very good exercise for the kids as well. And earlier I asked, is it a challenge for some parents to actually ask the kids to do some self-reflection, pause from what they're doing, like the video games and all that, and then just read and reflect on what they have read? And perhaps you have tips that you can give the parents and the teachers as to how they can make that process a little bit easier for the kids.
Sure. Yeah, we're all so busy these days.
Hmm.
And finding time is like, oh my God, another thing to do, we don't want it to be like another thing to do. And so there's that thing about, just selecting a time where maybe you have 5 minutes just to sit down and chat without without cell phones, without TV. Can you imagine? Without, I mean, we're surrounded by so much noise, I mean, we just don't even realize it, and we love it, right? We love our phones, we love our computers and all of that, our iPads, but there's something about having a quiet moment where you're just kind of nobody's doing anything. Nobody has to run off to an appointment or, get to here to there, but just a moment together, It's just, I think just creating that space is just going to be important. I know that some families have like a family night where they just sit around the table and play games, and it's like, whoa, what a concept.
Right.
It's like, we don't do that. We've really kind of gotten away from those special moments that where we could laugh together and have fun together and where we're not rushing off to the next thing.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that people will take a little time, to make this happen, whether it's in the classroom or whether it's around the family table or whatever, but just so that it feels fulfilling and meaningful, to those who are doing it.
Correct. And I'm sure your book can help with that since you said it talks about cooking or camping and other activities that parents and their kids can enjoy together, right?
Absolutely.
Dr. Yurik, you made writing sound like fun. So, what advice can you give someone who's just starting to write his or her book?
Oh, that's great. That's because I people ask me that question a lot. And first of all, I think that books start in the heart.
Mm.
And the magic of making a difference definitely has been in my heart for over 40 years, 50 years now since the quote that aha moment occurred. But
Mhm.
you know, it's something that's in your heart, and then I think it kind of moves into your head because you start thinking about it, you know. And this is my eighth book, by the way, and all my books have started out of a sense of purpose. And for me, it's like I wanted to have this message about how for people to understand that they can make a difference, because I think that doesn't always happen, that we get so caught up with so many things, we forget that just the smallest thing, a smile, a thank you,
Mhm.
um, a note to somebody, a thank you note to somebody, you know, it's just those things have new meaning now for us, because it's like, oh wow, he took a time to write thank you note, you know? And you know, it's like unusual now. But just you know, just carving out time to
Mhm.
make have yourself sit down and start writing. And for me, um, early morning is just the best time because there's no distractions,
Mhm.
there's no interruptions. And when I say early morning, when I first started working on my degree, I would get up way before work, my usual time. I would get up at about 4 o'clock in the morning to start writing.
Wow.
For me, it was like a sacred time because of the fact that I didn't have any interruptions. I
Mhm.
didn't have to go and do anything, make breakfast or anything. It was just a quiet time. And that's when my inspiration comes, is during those quiet times. So just getting into action and writing and being consistent, and you know, just knowing that this is like a calling in a way. This is like, you know, a message that you feel is important for others. So it becomes, for me, it becomes a mission. This book in particular has become a mission, the magic of making a difference. And it's like, I want people to know how important they are in other people's lives, maybe even if you don't even know them.
Mhm. Right. So now that your book is out in the world, how has the response been so far from your readers?
Wow, it has been amazing. It has been amazing. I find myself in lots of different situations where I'm sharing the book. And
Mhm.
I'll give you two examples, totally extreme examples. So yesterday, just yesterday, I was invited to be a guest speaker at a group called Women's Empowerment here in Sacramento, California. Women's Empowerment is a course that women go through. These women have been identified as women who have been victims of domestic violence. Many of them have children, but they've been homeless. Um, their stories are amazing. And at some point, they reached out to Women's Empowerment to be part of this program. And so yesterday I was there and I told the story about the one can make a difference. And I had just women in tears. And I actually have a card I'd love to share with you, a card that one of the women made for me. I didn't know her, but she was there in the audience. And this is what she said. Thank you for your very inspiring story of how something so small can make such a big difference in your own life. It has opened my eyes as to how I can start letting the little things make me have big changes in my own life. Thank you so much for coming and speaking to our group.
Wow.
Love, Ashley. Yeah, this woman shared how her rock bottom was sleeping with her son in the bathroom at IHOP Pancake House. And when that happened, she realized how down she had gotten, how bad things had gotten. And it was then that she made a promise to herself that they would never have to sleep on a bathroom floor in a restaurant again.
Mhm.
And now she's in this program. to train herself to take control of her life and to go and find a job. And I mean, it's just an amazing program. So that was one instance of what it was like to be in a small group. There's about 20 women. Then, as a contrast, the other thing that I developed out of this book is what I call the waves of kindness. You see, I really want to have a big impact on how we can be kind to one another again. And my goal was to create a community engagement art activity for an event that I was at just
Uh-huh.
this last weekend. And what I did is I came up with this idea, and my readers can find this on my website
Mhm.
at www.themagicofmakingadifference.com.
Mhm.
But the information will be up there soon. But what I did is I ordered these pennants, and I don't know if you can see them, but these are vinyl pennants,
Uh-huh.
and they're beautiful colors, blue, yellow, red, green, and they're kind of attached to like a clothesline. There's about, 25 of these little pennants here. I purchased some decorative things to go on the pennants, and I had a table at an event called International Festival. And the whole idea was to decorate, anybody to come by, to decorate a pennant with how they can be kind to one another. So I had kids that were just writing amazing things, like
Mhm.
listen to a person's story. You're amazing. You matter. You shine. You are you. Together we make magic. Always be kind. I mean,
Wow.
and then some of these were just had, or just kind of blew me away because some of the kids said how I can help the homeless, how I
Mhm.
can help end world hunger.
Mhm.
I mean, some of these issues are big issues that we're facing, but to have children in particular have this on their heart,
Right.
I would love for them to know that they can make a difference.
Mhm. Right. So after experiencing all of that, Dr. Yuri, what's next for you and your book?
Ooh, that's a really great question. And, in some ways, I don't even know. I didn't know I was going to be doing the waves of kindness. And by the way, this art project is going to be installed in City Hall.
Wow.
In our own city hall. City officials are so excited about it. And the cool thing about this is that it's going to grow because
Yeah.
it's a clothesline and you can attach another set
Uh-huh.
of tenants to it. So it can continue to grow to show how people care, how they care for one another. So I'm hoping to bring this project into schools
Mhm.
so that each school can create their own waves of kindness, and that can be a visual um, kind of reminder of how we're, first of all, we can all make a difference and how we are all connected and we're all here right now, and let's make the best of it. So by being kind to one another. So those are some of the main things that I'm moving forward with. And we'll see what happens after that. I'm kind of staying open to what kind of opportunities come up. I love speaking. I
Mhm.
love because you can reach a lot of people. And I want to thank you so much for having this opportunity for me to be on your podcast, because the people will be listening to this and maybe somebody will be inspired and will reach out to me. And they
Right.
can do that by contacting me at
Mhm.
themagicofmakingadifference.com. So just really simple. The website has the title of the book. And you can also order this book through Amazon. And with the same title, just type in The Magic of Making a Difference. And Archway is another publishing company that has taken my book and has made it big time. And this is part of that effort. So I just wanted to thank you for helping me get the message out there. to those who are listening.
It's our pleasure, Dr. Yuri. And I would also want you to talk about what else they can see from your website, since we were talking about that earlier. What else can they get from your website? You said there are other
Wow.
activities there.
Wow, yeah, if people are interested in like taking this a little further,
Mhm.
whether it's in your own family, your own church, your club, organization, or your own community, at my website for free, you
Mhm.
can go and type in your contact information and you will receive 52 ways, 52 plus ways that kids can make a difference.
Mm.
So every week you will have a kindness challenge, and that's something that again that you can focus on no matter who you are or where you are, and you can make that happen in your own family or in your own backyard. So 52 plus ways that kids can make a difference. And you know what? None of it costs any money. It's just all things that ways of showing kindness.
So that's something to look forward to. To everyone tuned in, they can just visit your website and get more information about those. You've been sharing that for some time already, so I'm sure they really find it helpful. Thank you so much, Dr. Yurik, for sharing your incredible story and reminding us that yes, one person can make a difference. You can get a copy of Dr. Urik's book, The Magic of Making a Difference. One Can Make a Difference by Dr. Marlena Uhrik on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Archway Publishing's online bookstore, and other resellers. You can visit Dr. Marlena's website and you're going to see links there to where you can buy the book. It's available in paperback, hardback, and ebook formats. Thank you to everyone tuned in, whether you're listening in or watching this episode online. We appreciate you and we'll hope to see you next time on the Author Roundup.